So I'm going to do a note of hi. So this video is piggybacking on the previous one. I think the previous one is titled Truths to be Discovered, something like this. But there are two of them. There's one which is Welcome to the Frontier, which is going to be like the forefront of my actual website. And since I was talking about truths yet to be discovered, I'm going to use this basically. And welcome to the frontier. And then I would like finalize on video number 5 of today with the notes that are practically the notes that I'm taking with myself, these notes. And just to be like, welcome to the frontier is right here. You see it. Welcome to the frontier. I just scratched it to make sure I don't repeat this video because the videos that I keep, I circle them like this one here. Karma through luck points. I love this video. I'm going to actually go back to it again. And I want to discuss how karma actually we could, if we were just same way we could monetize YouTube, right? Like our value towards this world is basically monetized through how lucky we get, right? Isn't that the case? All right, my neck from this side is a bit tense. Oh, fuck, much better. All right, so welcome to the frontier. So I was talking in the previous video about like the truths in this world that still need to be discovered. And I was having this conversation today because, like, what does it mean, the frontier? And it's like a bit of nerd, nerd reading, a bit of nerd reading that I was going through, where I was like discussing, where I was reading about like how America back in the day was the frontier. And the frontier literally means a border, or it means like an undiscovered place, like the precipice of what we know. And if this is something we know, wait, let me do it like this. If this is something we know, there's everything we know, and then this is the frontier to what we don't know. And when it comes to science, there are certain frontiers, and there are people that are doing like random research that people don't understand what's going to happen. Neil deGrasse Tyson like talks about it beautifully because he talks about I think he's the one who inspired me. I should have like saved that video. I probably did. But he basically describes in the early 30s, the people that were researching, for example, Einstein, the things that he was researching when it comes to like waves and radiation and all that kind of stuff, are the actual things we use right now for the internet and for that kind of technology. And there's a strong kind of like sense of we're just going to dabble in something that doesn't really fit anywhere right now, but it feels like the more we dabble in it, the more it becomes a thing that we're moving towards, thus creating the reality of the world or the reality of the world we're living in. Because these concepts, they didn't exist before, or at least based on our documented history, like radiation didn't exist before the like 1800s. I think Curie, yeah, the husband and wife, like Marie Curie, that had like 2 Nobel Prizes. She basically was the person that coined radiation as a term or something like that. And I really need to research this stuff more, but I kind of like general understanding. We don't have to go into details, do we? We don't. Great. Haha. Round of applause for all the people that are not really watching. But uh, so back before that, reality didn't have radiation. Yet a new truth was discovered on the frontier of research, where, well, I think she passed away because of radiation. But like she kind of like discovered how things emit radiation, and slowly kind of like the world shifted to how we can utilize the radiation of different things, and eventually like microwaves, I think, were because of her. And that was like 20, 30 years later. And it's funny because the first microwaves were being used for military, and then they started being used for like radio, and after that, and after that, and after that. Or I think they were used for radio, and then after that, they were used to kind of like heat stuff. They discovered that these vibrations kind of like fuck with the trees in front of them or something like that. But the frontier is literally that line, that thin line that we as a reality for the world kind of like leak out into. Once it breaks and we kind of like discover something relevant, or wants something relevant, because like the frontier is, if you look at our existence as human beings and everything we do right now, between finance, between the sciences of business, between the sciences of psychology, behavior sciences, society, politics, and all these things, like each one of them has its own kind of like extreme or its own like undiscovered areas. And it's funny because everything has become a science. Like you can learn politics, although politics mainly is just, it's just case studies from the past and the things that worked and didn't work. Kind of the same as business, case studies from the past, and the same as in finance and in economics. And we're always kind of like building on different theories and formulas that work and didn't work. And sometimes we get like, there's a in computer programming, the original way of reading data was basically required a whole lot of data in order to process stuff. But as we evolved, we needed a different way to process data in order for us to be able to enjoy the games that we enjoy right now, because those games are very much real in real time, and a whole lot of the setup around it is very like expansive. Like you take a step forward, a lot of things start happening. Back then, it used to just be like plain kind of like a drawn design with like a place where you can move and walk. And for example, there's a technology called Unreal Engine, and that you can create anything you want. So fucking real. Create anything you want, even like people. And I think that's what AI uses in order to generate stuff. But ultimately, like something like Unreal Engine had to redesign how the computer reads data in order for them to not utilize as much space, and in order for the computer to be able to process a lot more data with like less, without heating as much, without consuming energy as much. So they re-architected the way that re-architected, re-engineered the way that computers read data and process data. So the whole concept became a bit more elaborate towards a more efficient approach. And that was kind of like frontier research, because they were like kind of doing something and everyone was like, why would you, what are you doing? And then when they actually succeeded, like the entire gaming industry kind of like had one of those like boosts and lifts. It's like level up, mofos. Let's fucking do this. And then suddenly we're playing all these games. All Most of the games that we have right now are the games like the PUBG games. All these kinds of games were made possible by these people's train of thought, these people's kind of like and just ingenuitive approach, and kind of like disregard for something that's already there, a concept that's already there, and kind of like researching things from a completely different aspect. But that alone kind of shifted all the frontiers of everything else, like military switched. I'm sure even like the way people conduct politics, because now like everything in front of them started looking differently. Influence started looking differently. Facebook shifted the way people advertise and shifted the way human psychology, understood more about human psychology over the past like years through Facebook than we did like over the past couple of 100 years, simply because like we're seeing behavior directly with us. It's been consumed for not for the greater good, but still like we're learning. They're publishing. It's not like they're keeping that information secret. So overall, I really like the concept of the frontier is just what is new and what are the new things that we could discover if we are actually like doing something that's completely, I don't know, let's just say inconceivable. And what could be inconceivable? What could we do in regards? How can we approach society in a way that's a bit inconceivable? But naturally, we need to build some form of like strong understanding of what we're trying to do and where it could go from a research perspective in order for us to prove some form of new frontier that's been broken into, so other people would rush to explore it and ultimately shift the way society operates. And for me personally, what I want is I want individuals to actually start being monetizing their own value without having to go through the loops of the internet and the loops of like modern day society. I really think the frontier should be towards how society needs to shift, or is actually like shifting, but it's shifting on top of ground that doesn't really support it anymore. And To end this, in the words of the guy who wrote The Little Prince, what was his name? Author, The Little Prince. To end it on the my favorite quote of by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. He talks about my favorite quote of his is, "It's often perfection is not when we don't have anything else to add, but when we have nothing left to remove." And I really think when we're building on top of our own concepts, we always tend to kind of like add more things to prove something or to reach somewhere else. Well, in simplistic terms, all we have to do is kind of like go back to a certain area and then basically restructure our movement instead of going in one direction, like go in another. And I think those are the lines that we kind of like get stuck into. And then if we get to explore differently, if we have the strength to move in different directions, or at the very least to like kind of like profoundly believe in different directions, we're able to discover the new frontiers and open them for new people to kind of like go and explore and create different concepts, different structures, different approaches, and build a new reality, a new world. I'm getting closer to talking to you guys about like the platform I'm trying to make. And I really love that it only took me 259 fucking episodes in order for me to kind of feel like I'm starting to divulge my philosophy on society. All right, babies. See you in the next video.